In labor before my Sill's wedding, Mill locked me in a bathroom to avoid stealing the spotlight. I woke in the hospital. 2 weeks ago, Rick, 30 million, and I, 29 feet, had a daughter May. We are certainly thrilled to have our first child. As we get used to being new parents, things have been hectic. We're both having a difficult shift, but we're trying our hardest. Unfortunately, given what transpired on the day of May's birth, we are unable to offer much assistance. I don't think I will ever be able to forget it because it was one of the most painful events in my life. The overwhelming terror I experienced that day hasn't been replaced, not even by the happiness of May's arrival. If it weren't for my husband's prompt action, I genuinely think I would have passed away. I'm conflicted despite the terrible incident. Part of me feels that since it includes family, we need to be kinder to them, particularly as May is the family's eldest child. But because hormones and newborn responsibilities are impairing my judgment, I've turned to Reddit for support. Please be patient with me. There are a lot of characters in this story. The two younger sisters of Rick are Emma, 24F, and Anna, 28F. Both of them and I have always gotten along well, so I don't believe there is any hostility between us. Since each of us is preoccupied with our own lives and occupations, we are not particularly close. Even though Emma lives in a different city, we make an effort to communicate via phone or text whenever possible. My mother-in-law Rachel, 53F, is another significant character in this tale. I get along well with Emma and Anna, but Rachel and I don't get along. We don't agree, and I genuinely believe she has problems with everyone, not just me. Rachel has an obsession with control. Her responses range from criticism and pouting to full-blown tantrums with tears because she wants things to happen her way. Because she reared them alone after their father left them, her children, including Rick, usually abide by her desires. They make an effort to ease their own and her burdens. Rick allows me to keep my distance and handle his mother any way I see fit because he knows she may be challenging. I've always attempted to leave things be, even though Rachel can be somewhat controlling. I avoid her since she doesn't like me. Up until a few days ago, when everything went awry, this arrangement worked. Anna was getting married the day May was born. Her husband, Jonah, 30 million, is actually Rick's friend, and the wedding was lovely. About a year ago, he proposed to her, and I agreed to be a bridesmaid when Anna asked me to. I had to ask Anna to designate someone else as her maid of honor after Rick and I learned I was expecting. I was aware that I couldn't handle the obligations. This was just 6 months before the wedding and roughly 6 months after her proposal. I was 3 months pregnant at the time. Before informing Anna, I was really anxious. I was afraid that our connection would become permanently strained. I was relieved that didn't occur. When I told Anna the news, she was ecstatic. She even briefly forgot about getting married. Obviously, I'll be taking care of you, she said when I told her that I couldn't perform the duties of maid of honor. She even thought about moving the wedding date so I wouldn't miss it, but that didn't work out in the end. Both sisters continued to work on getting ready for the wedding, with Emma filling in as maid of honor. In spite of this, they found time to help me during my really difficult pregnancy. Anna always stood by me without complaining, but I felt bad for missing her on such a significant day. Rachel, my mother-in-law, was the only one who appeared distressed. The wedding preparations were somewhat disrupted, and I believe she was irritated that I could no longer serve as the maid of honor. Rachel began to act hostilely toward me, while Anna was totally cool with my pregnancy and my absence from bridal chores. It was subtly persistent. I chose to dismiss it, assuming it was just her wedding stress or my hormones. The wedding day came 2 weeks ago. By that time, my feet were swollen, my abdomen was enormous, and I was severely pregnant. Anna wanted me there, so even though I was tired and felt like I could faint, I wanted to go. In order to avoid detracting from her special day, I had asked her in advance if my presence would pose any problems. I even had the thought that she was offended. Anna informed me that she only wanted her family to be there to support her and that she didn't care about fame or attention. She urged me to go and not be concerned about any drama. I trusted Anna because I knew how direct she was, and I felt obligated to support her despite my physical discomfort. I won't lie, there were a lot of whispers and murmurs regarding my presence on Anna's wedding day. I knew Anna was glad I was there, so I tried my best to ignore them. That was all I cared about at the time. But Rachel didn't talk to me very often. The whole time she scowled at me. I was too uneasy to pay any attention. I left her alone because I lacked the energy to confront her or figure out why she was acting in such a passive-aggressive manner. I wasn't going to react, so she could glare all she wanted. Then came the major incident, which really startled me and everyone else. I began to feel nervous just before the ceremony started. After meeting Anna, I went upstairs in the hopes of feeling better before going back. I had no idea that Rachel had been following me. I went to the bathroom because I felt weird and sweaty. My water suddenly burst. It was a real deluge. Immediately, panic struck. My baby had arrived at the worst possible time, despite the fact that I love her more than anything. I was attempting to think clearly while crouched in agony when Rachel suddenly materialized in front of me. We had to get to the hospital, so I ordered her to grab my phone and call Rick right away. Rachel escorted me to the restroom and took a seat for me. I trusted her to act appropriately, so I gave her my phone. She lost it at that point. Because she didn't want me to steal Anna's spotlight, Rachel said she would make sure Rick arrived after the ceremony. Shocked, I questioned if she was crazy and told her that I couldn't endure this for an hour. She took the phone with her and locked me in the bathroom when I tried to get it back. There I was, sitting on a toilet in a restroom, in labor, very pregnant, without a spouse or phone. I managed to avoid having a full-blown panic attack. What might have happened if I had is unknown to me. I stood up and walked to the door, yelling for assistance and hammering on it. However, nobody heard me because everyone was sitting for the wedding and the restroom was on the first level. I yelled until I could no longer be heard, but nobody arrived. At that point, I genuinely believed that I would pass away and that my child would follow me in death. I finally passed asleep, exhausted, sweating profusely, and without a voice. I don't recall anything else after that. Hours later, I awoke in the hospital. Rick was crying beside me. It took me a moment to figure out where I was and what was going on. I expected the worst when I saw Rick crying, and everything that had happened to me before, Rachel locking me in the bathroom and my calls for assistance, came flooding back. I believed May had not arrived. When Rick saw I was awake, he let out a breath of relief and began sobbing in my arms. I had a sinking feeling in my stomach and felt overpowered. The nurse then entered carrying a baby girl. I let out a sigh of comfort. There will never be a better moment than the first time I held my baby. Since I didn't have the energy to digest everything at that point, I was thankful that Rick didn't give me any details. I could hear some noise outside the hospital room, though. Rick explained that his mother was outside and wanted to come in to see her granddaughter when I asked him what was happening. I filled him in on everything, including Rachel's actions and how she needlessly put our daughter in risk. Furthermore, I made it plain that I would never permit her to get close to my daughter. She was dead to me. Rick said he already knew everything and nodded. Rachel had sobbed and told him everything when he discovered me in that way. I informed him that I would not forgive her because of her breakdown. Rick chuckled and declared that Rachel was dead to him as well from this moment on. He declared that he would go to court to make sure she was punished and that he intended to prosecute her with endangering her life. I felt as though a burden had been removed when I heard that. Rick and his brothers all love his mother, so I know that he does, but I wasn't in the mood to forgive her after what she had done, which might have cost me and May our lives. Our marriage would have been finished if Rick had sided with his mother instead of me. After that, there would have been no turning back. Given everything she had given up to raise them, I secretly feared he might support her. However, Rick defended me, and I am very appreciative. If it's possible, it increased my love for him. I inquired about Rick's wedding experience. "It's okay," he answered, adding that Anna and Emma were waiting for his call to come see us. He laughed and assured me not to worry when I inquired if Anna was upset. When Anna said that May's birth was the greatest present she could have gotten on her wedding day, she was ecstatic and beaming with pride. I cried when I heard that, and I told Rick to call them right away. Jonah, Emma, and Anna arrived to the hospital in a matter of minutes. The finest aspect? Jonah and Anna were still dressed for their wedding. There was no way Anna was going to miss the opportunity to take a wedding photo with her niece. I began to cry. It was a very touching moment. I apologized to Anna for spoiling her day after the photo. She gave me a big hug and told me that I was mistaken and that I had brightened her day. After that, I informed Anna about Rachel's actions since we made the pregnancy public. The only thing I did wrong, according to Anna, was not notifying them sooner. She was enraged. She thought that Rachel's drama could have been avoided. Emma added that any amount of trouble was okay as long as I was safe after I clarified that I didn't want to start any. My eyes still well up with tears as I type this. I realized then that they actually loved me as a member of their family, not simply Rick's wife. One of the most amazing people I've ever met is Anna. She's safe, kind, and incredibly happy. Understandably, she has achieved great success in life. How Rachel becomes so different from her kids is beyond me. It seems as though they chose to act in the exact opposite way after witnessing her actions. It's strange, but I no longer give a damn. The moment was lovely. Rachel, meanwhile, remained outside. On the walk-in, Anna assured her that she would personally see to it that Rick and I filed charges. I didn't want Rachel close to me, but she still wanted to come in to meet May. According to Anna, we must protect ourselves from Rachel. She also expressed regret, believing she had not done enough to clarify that she had no issue with my pregnancy or to allay her mother's overly protective tendencies. Anna thought that perhaps the incident could have been prevented if she had been more outspoken. I informed Anna that she was not at fault and that she had made me feel protected. Rick was outside conversing with Rachel the entire time. Rick shared his conversation with Rachel with me after I was released from the hospital and brought May home a few days later. He told her that nothing would alter his decision and that he would be filing charges. He also informed her that she was not regarded as May's grandma in any way and would never be permitted to be a part of her life. For a perceived offense that didn't even bother her, Rachel's actions had put our unborn kid and my life in risk. Additionally, Rick stated that he would drastically cut back on the financial assistance that Rachel had been receiving from him and Emma. Rachel broke down in tears at that time, saying she didn't deserve this treatment because she had slaved away her whole life for her kids. Rick strongly asserted that her acts did not provide her authority over their life, even though he respected the sacrifices she had made. He acknowledged that he had been overlooking or justifying her actions for years, but that was no longer the case with May and me. Given that Anna had never objected to my attending her wedding, Rachel had gone too far and demonstrated that she was dangerous to be around. After that, Rachel attempted to defend her behavior by claiming that she was attempting to keep Anna safe and didn't want me stealing the spotlight. However, Anna heard this and scolded Rachel, stating unequivocally that she had never felt that way. We are moving on with the lawsuit, but Rick is taking care of it because I can't handle the extra stress of caring for a newborn. Rick has stated unequivocally that none of the siblings are interested in continuing to be friends with Rachel. Emma only talks to her when it's absolutely necessary, and Anna has shut her off totally. Naturally, Rick and I are also no contact. Rachel probably didn't expect this backlash. As perverse as that seems, it's possible that she truly believed she was defending Anna. I'm not justifying her in the slightest, but I feel sorry for her since things went so wrong. I'm wondering now if we ought to discuss it with her. I feel awful and wrong about it, but perhaps I'm not thinking straight. I'm aware that Rick will become irate if I bring this up to him. He can't even look at Rachel at the moment since he is so angry with her. I didn't think this rift would be this deep, but here we are. First update, well, there is no possibility of reconciliation, never again. Being a new mother has kept me quite busy, which is why I haven't posted in a while. I haven't had much time for anything else because I've been so busy taking care of myself and my daughter. The good news is that we are all very enthusiastic about May's impending 8-week birthday. Rick and I have benefited much from the assistance of Anna and Jonah. Emma contacts us nearly every day, but she had to go back to work. Everyone's life are brightened by May, and her photos are all over our group chat. Rachel has not been contacted. Since we already have too much on our plate and filing charges would be pointless, I persuaded Rick not to do so. Since none of us has the energy to handle the matter at this time, Rick reluctantly consented. Rachel seemed appreciative when we informed her of this choice last week. I use the word appeared, because the woman is genuinely insane, and she soon revealed her true nature to everyone. Rick and I got up at around 1 a.m. last week. To a booming knock on the door. Rick went to open the door, but I fled and hid with May because I assumed it was a robbery. Although I could hear shouting, I was afraid to venture out for fear of waking May. My mother-in-law, Rachel, was the one who did it. According to Rick, she was acting irrationally, yelling that we couldn't keep her away and that she needed to see May. She finally backed off after Rick threatened to call the police. She had been attempting to enter the residence by force. We thought that something might be wrong with her and that everyone needed to know, so we contacted Emma and Anna right once. But our worry didn't last long. Rachel texted us unsettlingly the following day. She began by saying that we were punishing her for being a mother by denying her access to May, calling us nasty and horrid. The text soon became erratic and theatrical. She discussed the challenges of parenting 3 children and how she had to put one child's needs ahead of another at all times. She used the excuse that she didn't want May to ruin Anna's wedding to defend her actions on May's birthday. Rachel deliberately disregarded the fact that Anna had constantly emphasized that she had no issue with the pregnancy and wedding taking place at the same time, and that May was actually a fetus at the time. I initially made an effort to comprehend her viewpoint. Then, though, her text became more sinister. Rachel said that she was concerned that her children would no longer value her as much now that May was in our lives. She said that she had thought Anna would be angry about the pregnancy because, as she put it, that's what a normal woman would feel. However, she didn't like it when she saw us all thrilled about the wedding and the pregnancy. She wanted us to be envious and competitive instead of pleased that we were happy for each other. Rachel continued by saying that she felt devalued because May had replaced her as her children's unifying factor. She also said that she had anticipated Anna would snap at her for drawing attention away from the wedding because of May's birth. Rachel felt supplanted when it didn't occur and May was the only topic of conversation. I was no longer able to read by this time. Telling Rick that she was insane and dangerous for all of us, I requested him to ban her number. Since reading those texts, I've been suffering from a persistent headache. How a 50-year-old woman could compete with a 7-week-old infant is beyond me. I don't get it, and to be honest, I'm done attempting to figure out why she does it. Both Emma and Anna were similarly horrified when we shared Rachel's mails to them. They hypothesized that she might be experiencing a manic episode. Emma even volunteered to fly down and have a facility evaluate Rachel. I acknowledged that it was a smart concept, but I made it plain that I no longer wanted to interact with Rachel. Her actions were too risky and unpredictable. Second update, Rachel is currently the subject of a restraining order. We are exercising caution even though she hasn't tried anything since the late-night event. Emma carried out her plan, consulted a psychologist and a psychiatrist, and had Rachel tested. Although Rachel's behavior had no underlying medical cause, she was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. The next course of action recommended by the specialists was therapy. Emma made the decision to cut all communication with Rachel following this disclosure. She stated that she would be happy to assist if Rachel had a medical condition, but Emma can no longer put up with her now that it is obvious that her acts are motivated by hatred. I share this sentiment and fully comprehend it. If Rachel's behavior had been the result of a real mental illness, I might have felt some pity for her. But we can't make amends with her now that we know this is just who she is. The purpose of the restraining order is to protect Rick, May, and myself. Rachel has shown herself to be unsafe on 2 occasions, and her particular animosity against May makes her much more hazardous. We cannot compromise on keeping her away from our family. This, I believe, will be my last update. I hope I never have to talk about this whole experience again.
Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.